My beloved child, I know that you have been carrying a heavy weight of exhaustion lately, a weariness that goes far deeper than physical tiredness, because it is a fatigue of the soul born from waiting for a breakthrough that seems like it will never arrive. You have watched the seasons change and the years roll by, standing in what feels like the same spot while holding onto a promise that seems to be fading into the mist of time. And you have whispered to me in the quiet hours of the night, asking if I have forgotten you, or if you have somehow disqualified yourself from the goodness I promised. I hear the silent ache in your heart when you ask, "How long?" and the frustration that bubbles up when you see another door close. But I want you to know that I am closer to you now in the waiting than I have ever been, and I have not forgotten a single word I have spoken over your life. I see the way you look at the calendar with a sense of dread, feeling as though time is slipping through your fingers like sand, and that you are missing the critical moments of your destiny, causing a panic to rise in your chest that you are falling behind. You have convinced yourself that this delay is a punishment for your past mistakes or a sign of my disapproval. But I want to gently silence that voice of accusation and replace it with the truth of my love. I did not delay you to hurt you, nor did I press pause on your life to torment you. I delayed you to protect you from battles you were not yet equipped to fight, and to save you from rooms that would have crushed your spirit. You have often felt like a traveler who has lost their map, wandering in a wilderness, while others seem to be driving on a clear highway. And this comparison has stolen your joy, making you feel small and insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But I want you to understand that the path I have chosen for you is a scenic route designed for transformation, not a shortcut designed for speed. And the things you are learning in this slow season are the very stones that will build the foundation of your future palace. You are not lost, you are hidden. I have covered you with the shadow of my hand to shield you from the heat of the day until the precise moment when you are ready to shine without burning out. There is a specific ache that comes from seeing the potential within yourself, but having no outlet to express it. A feeling of being a racehorse trapped in a stable, pacing back and forth with energy that has nowhere to go. You have questioned your gifts, questioned your calling, and wondered if perhaps you imagined it all. But I tell you that the pressure you feel is not the absence of a calling, but the compression of a calling that is about to be released. I am storing up energy within you, building a reservoir of grace and power that will sustain you for the long haul. So do not despise the containment, for it is the precursor to the launch. I know you have shed tears that no one else has seen, crying out for relief and for a change in your circumstances. And I have collected every single one of those tears in my bottle, treasuring them as liquid prayers that move my heart. You feel as though your prayers are hitting a brass ceiling and bouncing back unanswered. But I assure you that I am working in the invisible realm, moving pieces on the chessboard of your life that you cannot see. The silence is not a sign of my absence. It is a sign of my deep concentration as I meticulously arrange the details of your coming victory to ensure that it is perfect and sorrow-free. You are tired of the phrase, "wait on the Lord," because to your human ears it sounds like passivity, like doing nothing while the world passes you by. And you are a person of action who wants to fix, build, and move. But waiting in my kingdom is not passive. It is the most active and difficult work of the Spirit, requiring you to hold your ground in faith when every emotion screams for you to run in fear. I am teaching you the strength of stillness, the power of trusting my character more than your timeline. And this lesson is essential because the weight of the glory I am bringing requires a spine of steel that only waiting can forge. You have begun to notice a shift in your spirit, a new sharpness in your discernment that allows you to spot red flags in people and opportunities miles before they can get close enough to harm you. In the past, you would have rushed into relationships or contracts simply because they looked good on the surface, desperate to fill the void of loneliness or stagnation. But now you pause, you pray, and you look deeper. This delay has gifted you with X-ray vision in the spirit, protecting you from wolves in sheep's clothing that would have devoured your destiny if I had allowed you to succeed sooner. Your standards have changed dramatically during this season of waiting. You no longer have an appetite for the crumbs you used to settle for, because you have realized your worth and the value of the anointing upon your life. There was a time when you would have accepted any job, any partner, or any friendship just to feel chosen. But now you would rather walk alone with me than walk in compromise with the wrong crowd. This elevation in your standards is a direct result of the delay. For I have been using this time to wash your eyes with eye salve so that you can see the difference between what shines and what is truly gold. You are learning to value peace over speed, a profound transformation that proves you are maturing into the person who can handle the legacy I want to give you. Before, you chased the adrenaline of the hustle and the excitement of the fast lane, but now you crave the quiet waters of my presence and the stability of a life built on truth. You are realizing that a blessing that comes with anxiety is not a blessing at all, and you are willing to wait as long as it takes to receive the inheritance that adds no sorrow to it. Notice how you are less impressed by the superficial applause of the crowd and more concerned with the condition of your own heart, realizing that public success without private integrity is a house of cards waiting to collapse. The delay has stripped away the desire for fame and replaced it with a desire for fruitfulness. And this shift is the most important preparation for what is coming. I cannot trust you with the platform until you no longer need it to validate your existence. And the waiting room has been the place where your ego has died so that your spirit could truly live. You have developed a resilience that surprises even you. When disappointments come now, you bounce back faster, grounding yourself in my word rather than spiraling into despair for weeks at a time. This emotional stability is a muscle you built by lifting the heavy weights of waiting day after day. And it is a quality that is absolutely necessary for the level of leadership I am calling you to. The delay was the gymnasium where I trained you to become a warrior who can stand firm in the day of trouble, unshakable and immovable. You are finding that your definition of success has aligned with mine. It is no longer about accumulation of things, but about alignment with purpose and the depth of your connection with me. The things that used to dazzle you now seem dim, and the simple, eternal things, love, joy, peace, kindness, shine with a brilliance you never noticed before. This recalibration of your values is the evidence that the delay has done its perfect work, purifying your motives so that when the blessing comes, you will use it for my kingdom and not just for your own comfort. I am revealing to you that the closed doors you grieved over were actually protective walls that kept you from walking into traps that would have stolen years of your life. You cried when those opportunities slipped away, but if you could see what I saw, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the spiritual death that lay behind those doors, you would be thanking me for the rejection. The delay was my mercy in action, blocking your path to destruction so that I could preserve you for the path of life. You have learned the difference between a good idea and a God idea, realizing that just because something is possible does not mean it is permissible or beneficial for your specific journey. In your haste, you used to try to force every key into every lock, But now you wait for the tumblers to click into place by my hand, trusting that what is meant for you will not require you to break down the door. This wisdom is a precious jewel that you have mined from the dark caves of delay, and it will save you from countless mistakes in the future. Finally, you are starting to feel a deep, settling peace about the unknown, a trust that even if you don't know the when or the how, you know the who, and that is enough to sustain you. This is the ultimate sign of readiness, when you can sit calmly in the boat in the middle of the storm, because you know I am in the vessel with you. The delay has transitioned you from a panic-stricken passenger to a faithful partner, ready to sail into the new horizons I have prepared. I know the struggle of interpreting my silence as rejection, how the quietness of heaven can feel like a cold shoulder when you are pouring out your heart in desperation. You wonder if you have prayed the wrong prayers, or if your faith is too small, and the enemy whispers that I am ignoring you because I do not care about your pain. But I want you to know that silence is often a sign of intimacy, not distance. Just as close friends can sit in silence without awkwardness, I am bringing you to a place where you can trust my heart even when you cannot hear my voice. The pain of comparison burns hot in your chest when you scroll through the highlight reels of others, watching peers who seem less faithful or less qualified zoom past you into marriage, career success, or ministry. You feel like a spectator in your own life, sitting on the bench while everyone else gets to play the game, and you wonder why their path is so straight while yours is so winding. I want you to put on your blinders, my child, because their journey is not your journey, and the speed of their elevation says nothing about the height of your destination. You struggle deeply with self-blame, replaying past conversations and decisions, convinced that you must have done something to ruin the plan I had for you, as if you have the power to derail my sovereignty. You search your soul for secret sins or missed cues, tormenting yourself with the idea that the delay is a sentence for a crime you can't remember committing. Release this burden of guilt, for my plans for you are not so fragile that they can be shattered by a single misstep. I am the redeemer of time and the restorer of paths. Control fatigue has set in, leaving you exhausted from trying to micromanage the timing of your life, attempting to manipulate circumstances to force a breakthrough. You have tried to help me out, like Sarah with Hagar, thinking that if you just push a little harder or network a little more, you can make the promise happen. But this striving only leaves you drained and disappointed. I am inviting you to lay down the heavy burden of being the general manager of the universe and simply be the child who trusts the Father to keep the world spinning. Trust issues have taken root in your heart after repeated near misses, where you got your hopes up only to have them dashed at the last second, leaving you feeling foolish for believing. Now you are afraid to hope again, afraid to get excited, so you protect yourself with a layer of cynicism, calling it being realistic to avoid the sting of another letdown. But I am asking you to be brave enough to hope one more time, because faith is the substance of things hoped for, and without hope, the heart gets sick. You feel the isolation of the waiting room, where it seems like no one understands the specific nuances of your struggle, and well-meaning friends offer platitudes that only make you feel more alone. They tell you it will happen when you least expect it, or just be patient, words that grate against the raw nerves of your longing. I want you to know that I understand the language of your sighing, and I am the companion who sits with you in the waiting room, holding your hand when the hours feel long. The fear that you are running out of time is a constant shadow, especially when you look at biological clocks or career milestones that the world says you should have hit by now. You feel an urgency that borders on panic, a frantic need to catch up, but I exist outside of time, and I can accelerate your progress in a single day to accomplish what would take 10 years of human effort. Do not measure your life by the world's timeline. Measure it by my faithfulness, which is new every morning. You struggle with the feeling of being left behind, a deep-seated insecurity that perhaps you are not as important or as loved as those who seem to be blessed so easily. This lie strikes at the core of your identity, making you question your worthiness to receive good things. But I tell you that the last shall be first, and the time you are spending in the back of the line is developing a character in you that will keep you humble when I move you to the front. There is a temptation to settle for a counterfeit blessing, to take the Ishmael because the Isaac is taking too long to arrive, and this struggle is a daily battle between your flesh and your spirit. Your flesh wants relief now, but your spirit wants the promise, and the tension between the two is exhausting. I am giving you the strength to say no to the good so that you can say yes to the best, reinforcing your resolve to wait for the real thing. You fight against the feeling of purposelessness, wondering if your life has meaning while you are in this holding pattern, feeling like you are wasting your potential. You want to be used by me to make a difference, but you feel shelved and sidelined. I want you to see that your primary purpose is not what you do for me, but who you are in me. And in this season of waiting, you are fulfilling the highest purpose of all, loving me for who I am, not for what I give. The emotional roller coaster of getting your hopes up and then crashing down has left you motion sick, wary of any sign of movement because you don't want to go through the cycle again. You have learned to numb your emotions to stay steady, but this numbness blocks out the joy as well as the pain. I want to heal your capacity to feel, to restore the elasticity of your heart so that you can rejoice fully when the answer comes. You struggle with the concept of surrender because to you it feels like giving up or admitting defeat, and your fighter spirit resists laying down the sword. But spiritual surrender is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of power, where you align your will with mine and stop fighting against the current of my grace. I am not asking you to give up on the dream. I am asking you to give up on the timeline and the method, trusting me to bring it to pass in my way. Sometimes you feel angry with me, and then you feel guilty for being angry, creating a cycle of shame that keeps you from coming boldly to the throne of grace. You think you have to hide your frustration, but I can handle your honest emotions. I would rather have your angry honesty than your polite distance. Bring your anger to me, pour it out like water, and let me exchange it for a peace that surpasses understanding. You worry that you have misheard my voice, that perhaps the promises you are holding onto were just your own imagination, and this doubt eats away at your confidence. You replay the moments of confirmation, trying to find a flaw in the logic, but deep down, the witness of the Spirit remains. Trust that initial voice that spoke to you. Do not let the darkness of the delay cause you to doubt what I showed you in the light. The financial or physical pressure of the delay adds a layer of practical stress that makes it hard to focus on spiritual things, and you wonder why I don't just fix the immediate problem. I see your needs, and I know them before you ask, but I am teaching you to rely on me as your source, not just a resource. I will provide for you in the wilderness, giving you manna for the day, to build a trust history that will never be erased. You feel the judgment of others who look at your life and wonder why you haven't made it yet, and their unspoken questions make you feel like you need to defend yourself or explain your journey. You feel the need to prove that you are not a failure, but I am your defender, and you do not need to justify your season to anyone. Let them talk. Let them wonder. I will prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies, and my vindication will be louder than their doubts. The temptation to take matters into your own hands and force a door open is strong, especially when you see a sliver of light. But you know deep down that a door you force open is a door you have to hold open. You are tired of striving, tired of manipulating, and you just want to rest. I am inviting you into that rest, a holy resignation where you take your hands off the wheel and watch me drive. Finally, you struggle with the fear that when the blessing finally comes, you will be too old, too tired, or too broken to enjoy it. You think the best years are behind you, but I am the God of resurrection who makes all things new. I promise you that when the time is right, I will renew your youth like the eagles, and the joy of the harvest will far outweigh the pain of the planting. My child, here is the revelation that will set your heart free. The delay was never about denying you. It was always about protecting you from wrong doors, wrong people, and wrong versions of success that would have destroyed you. If I had opened that door 3 years ago, you would have walked into a trap disguised as a blessing, for you did not yet have the discernment to see the hook inside the bait. I love you too much to give you what you want before you are ready to handle the weight of it. I have been preserving your promises in a spiritual incubator, keeping them safe until the environment of your life is perfectly set to sustain them. Just as a premature birth carries great risk, a premature blessing can be fatal to your destiny, causing you to collapse under the pressure of a platform you have not built the character to support. The delay has allowed your roots to grow down deep into the bedrock of my love, so that when the fruit finally comes, your branches will not snap. Understand that I am not just working on you. I am working on the other people involved in your promise, the future spouse, the business partner, the mentor, the audience. They were not ready for you, and if our paths had crossed sooner, the connection would have failed because of their immaturity or unreadiness. I have been orchestrating a divine convergence, ensuring that when you finally meet, both of you are walking in the fullness of preparation. The delay was necessary to detox your heart from the idols of validation and approval, breaking the chains of people-pleasing that would have enslaved you in your new season. If you had succeeded while you were still addicted to the praise of men, you would have become a puppet of public opinion, unable to lead with the bold authority I have given you. I had to hide you in the wilderness to kill the fear of man in you, so that you would fear only God. I have been using this time to build your testimony, for a testimony without a test is just a theory, and I need you to speak from a place of experienced victory, not just intellectual knowledge. The depth of your struggle will determine the breadth of your impact. The more you have had to overcome, the more authority you will have to set others free. You are not just waiting. You are gathering ammunition for the battles you will help others fight in the future. The delay was a filter, sifting out the people in your life who were only attached to your potential and not committed to your person. I had to slow down your car to let the hitchhikers get out, because they could not go where I am taking you, and their weight would have dragged you down. It was painful to see them go, I know, but it was essential to clear the space for the covenant relationships that are coming. I am revealing to you that your timing and my timing are often different because you view time chronologically, while I view time seasonally and purposefully. You see a ticking clock, I see a ripening fruit. A fruit that is picked too early is sour and hard, but a fruit that is allowed to stay on the branch until the fullness of time is sweet and nourishing. I am waiting for your sweetness to mature. This season has been about capacity building. I have been stretching your heart, your faith, and your patience so that you can hold more of my glory without cracking. If I poured the ocean into a thimble, it would overflow and be wasted. So I have been enlarging your vessel through the trials you have endured. The stretching hurts, but it is creating room for an abundance that you cannot yet imagine. I protected you from a Saul blessing, a position of power given before the heart is humble, so that I could give you a David anointing, which is forged in the obscure pastures of service. You wanted the crown, but I gave you the shepherd's staff first, because you must learn to defend the sheep from the lion and the bear before you can lead the nation. The delay was your training ground for royalty. The silence you felt was actually the sound of the enemy being silenced. I was fighting battles in the heavenly realms that you knew nothing about, dismantling strongholds that stood against your bloodline. While you were waiting, I was breaking generational curses and clearing the debris from the road ahead so that your children will not have to fight the same giants you fought. The delay was effective warfare. I want you to see that no for now is not no forever. It is often not yet because I have something better. You mourned over the loss of a good thing, not realizing that I was making room for the best thing, and your grief blinded you to the upgrade I was preparing. Trust that my no is always a protective barrier that steers you toward your ultimate good. The delay has taught you the language of faith, forcing you to speak those things that are not as though they were, and to stand on my word when your circumstances scream the opposite. This is the graduate level of Christianity, and you have passed the test with flying colors, even if you felt like you were failing. You have learned to walk by faith and not by sight, and this is the most valuable lesson of all. I was saving you from the exhaustion of maintaining a success that was built on human effort. Instead, I am bringing you into a success that is sustained by divine grace. What you build, you have to hold up. What I build, I hold up. The delay was the time it took for you to stop building your own Tower of Babel and start letting me build my temple in you. Alignment is the key to the release of the promise, and alignment involves not just you, but the environment, the resources, and the people around you. I have been aligning the constellations of your life, moving mountains and drying up seas to create a perfect pathway for your destiny. When the moment comes, everything will click into place with a supernatural ease that will make you realize why the wait was worth it. Finally, the revelation is this: I have not been withholding the blessing from you. I have been withholding you from the danger of an unblessed life disguised as success. I have been keeping you safe in my quiver, polishing you like a sharp arrow, and now that your aim is true and your tip is sharp, I am getting ready to launch you. The tension you feel is the bow being drawn back. Do not fear the pullback, for it determines the distance of the flight. My child, I encourage you to look back at 2 specific doors in your past that closed firmly despite your prayers, and dare to thank me for them now. Recognize them not as losses, but as severe mercies, traps that were snapped shut before your foot could get caught. When you reframe your past rejections as divine protections, gratitude will flood your heart and wash away the bitterness of the wait. I call you to release the timeline daily, to wake up each morning and say, Lord, I surrender my need to control the when. I receive your perfect timing. This daily act of surrender is the key that unlocks the shackles of anxiety, allowing you to live fully in the present moment while expecting the future. Give me the calendar, and I will give you the peace. Set one boundary today that proves you are ready for the promise. Perhaps it is saying no to a toxic conversation, turning off the noise to spend time with me, or refusing to entertain thoughts of self-pity. This physical act of setting a boundary is a prophetic declaration that you are a person of value, a container ready for the new wine. Show me that you can steward your own heart, and I will trust you to steward the hearts of others. Stop looking at your life as a series of failures and start seeing it as a curriculum of grace. You are not behind, you are deep. The depth you have gained is rare and precious, and the world is desperate for the wisdom that you carry in your scars. Walk with your head held high, knowing that you have been forged in the fire and you did not burn. I invite you to stop striving and start abiding, to rest in the knowledge that what is meant for you will not pass you by. You do not have to chase the blessing. The blessing will chase you down and overtake you when you are positioned in my will. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Remember that the farmer waits for the precious produce of the soil, being patient about it, until it gets the early and late rains. Be patient, strengthen your heart, for the coming of the Lord is near. Your harvest is in the ground, and the rain is coming. Do not dig up the seed in frustration just before it breaks the surface. Forgive yourself for the time you think you wasted. Nothing is wasted in my kingdom, and I will restore the years the locusts have eaten. I will give you double for your trouble, and your latter days will be more blessed than your former days. Receive my forgiveness and move forward without the baggage of regret. Keep your eyes on the healer, not the healing. Keep your eyes on the provider, not the provision. When your gaze is fixed on me, the waiting loses its sting because you are already satisfied in my presence. I am your portion and your exceeding great reward. You are a masterpiece in the making, and masterpieces take time. Do not rush the artist. I am painting a picture with your life that will display my glory for generations to come. Trust the brush strokes, even the dark ones, for they add depth and contrast to the final image. I am proud of you for not giving up, for holding on when your strength was gone. Your perseverance is a sweet aroma to me, and I am preparing a reward for your faithfulness. Hold fast to your confession of hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. The delay is over in the spirit. Now watch it manifest in the natural. The clouds are heavy with rain, and the sound of abundance is in the air. Get ready, get ready, get ready. If this message has brought peace to your waiting heart, and you want to continue receiving these reminders of God's perfect timing, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and stay connected with our community. Let us walk this journey of faith together, trusting that He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion.